Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and we're live.
What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the XXL Podcast with myself, Drew, and Josh. Josh, who have we got on the podcast today?
So today we have Thomas Barnett. Thomas works for, you know what, I don't know if he's a Tom or a Thomas, but he works currently for EasyJet as a senior trading executive, accountant, something like that. But he, I thought it'd be really interesting to get him on, talk about the current travel situation, how EasyJet's kind of obviously going through what they're going through, and basically, what the future may look like. So let's get him on. Hopefully it should be nice and easy and seamless.
As always.
Yeah. How we doing, Tom? Hopefully just get the
audio
sorted. There you go, connecting audio.
There we go.
There we go. Can hear you loud and clear.
Very good. How are we? Good morning.
Good morning.
Are we well?
Yeah, not too bad. You're sitting sideways at the moment.
If we all sit like this, we're
set up like that. Is that?
Yeah, whichever works best for you.
Fine. I'll just try and rest myself.
I can do it.
Yeah, no.
You might get the odd background noise of children.
That's right.
Advanced, but that's the situation we're in at the moment.
That's it.
Yeah.
How's the
podcast going?
You know what? It's going well. We're it was some. So me and Drew basically we kind of talked about doing it. Like we're really close mates and stuff like that. So we were thinking. I've watched loads of like Joe Rogan and things like that, and I thought it'd be amazing to really do that, but start to actually gain knowledge from other people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then with the whole when it went into lockdown, I got furloughed, and I thought, well, look, I don't really know how long this is going to go. So then we thought, the amount of people that you actually talk to is like myself, my partner, and that's really it. Day to day, normally you talk to a lot more people. So
of course you do. Yeah.
Yeah. We started up and we thought, let's just invite anyone on. Like we don't know who they are, what they do, everything, and we put it out. Pretty much almost everyone that we've known or had some kind of contact with. But then a lot of people have been like kind of sharing it, and then we've got a couple of people who potentially coming on who's a doctor who's currently working within the pandemic. Potentially like a nurse as well.
Okay.
So that's going to be really, really interesting. And then just generally kind of we wanted to get everyone from all different walks of life. Because it's affecting everyone, and especially their jobs, and then the future of how we're potentially going to live. So you were one of the first that actually contacted me saying, look, I'll be up for this.
I just thought it was
really
a great
cool
idea, and it was exactly for that. It's the social contacts, it's the talking to people. Obviously, Mental Health Week awareness this week, particularly poignant. And I just saw it. I thought, what a great idea that is, and obviously a little bit intimidating seeing the quality of guests that you've had. I just, but I thought, what a great idea, and well done. I'm pleased to see it do well, and see how many is it now? 12 you've done.
So this will be our 14th or 15th.
This is number 14 or 15. We've Coffee with a Stranger anyway. We've done a couple of previous videos to this string of videos that we've done recently. Yeah.
So it's been good. It's been good. We've learned a lot from a lot of different people as well. And especially the main thing is learning actually how people are dealing with it. Like every answer's been different. There's a similar theme of, you ride with it, but also which has been pretty blessed that people have shared it, is it's shown a lot of people that mental health has been quite a big thing in previous parts of their life. And now this is like kind of not bringing it back up, but they're kind of trying to say to people, anxiety's been a big thing and people are suffering with it and things like that. So it's been really, really interesting. But I mean, like, how have you been dealing with it and everything like that?
So what are we now? I've not been working since the end of March, which is just about when we went into lockdown.
Yeah.
At first, it was scary as hell. Something like this comes along. My first thought was, I've worked my last day in my current role. For me, when anything where there's a bit of uncertainty, the immediate pressure comes from having kids, and that guilt of being able to provide for them. Everyone that first week, you're watching the news constantly.
Yeah.
I found that really hard. Obviously, schools have been closed, and I think sort of with time, you sort of start to think, well, there's so much out of our control. You've got to sort of pick just one or two things to focus on. So obviously, for me, not working, my wife's been working. That's been sort of looking after the children, and just trying to keep active and exercise as well. Find that's been really good for me. And whatever happens, I'm never going to have an opportunity like this to spend so much time with them. And just trying to good days, bad days. I found it useful to talk to friends in similar situations, and you start to appreciate that they have those same challenges, and then that stops you from putting too much pressure on yourself. This whole homeschooling thing, you sort of a weekend, you feel like you're not doing a very good job, because the kids go to school, they're there sort of 9 till 3, and you have this expectation that they're going to be drilled doing maths and all these different things. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work like this. And some days you have to accept, what's better? Argue all day with the kids, or have a little bit of leeway, and you just play it day by day. And obviously, days like today with the sun's out, we've got the pool out to try and keep them occupied, and just one day at a time.
Yeah, I think actually it's a really good point. So yesterday's guest, we had an assistant kind of teacher, and she was saying that basically when she's in her house and the kind of homeschooling, she said the homeschooling is very, very good, but the one thing that they wanted to kind of make sure was actually if they're doing their work, that's great. If they're not doing their work, and it's something that isn't a major, like for the sake of the peace of the household, and just actually, it's a traumatic-ish time like right now. So you know what? Let's just keep the peace, and they'll do the work. But if I really start forcing them to try like a 9 to 5 or 9 to 3 school day, it's just not gonna happen.
No. You get other moments. So one of the nicest things was, I think in the first or second week, my daughter started riding a bike without stabilisers.
Oh wow!
And so you get little moments like that, and a week and a half feeling pretty rocky and ropey. That was almost brought a tear to my eye. And since then, most days we've been out. She's been out on a bike. She's zooming down the lanes. I've had to get my bike out and chase after her. You get little moments like that, and when you do these things and you see other people, it's different.
So, what's your kind of like current thoughts on the pandemic? How do you think that it's something that we kind of asked everyone, and it's a hard one because views change daily, really, for like political reasons and stuff like that. So, like for me. Personally, I think that we're at a time now. The economy is kind of on a teetering edge, and really, we're doing great, and I 100% support what's going on. But I also think that actually they should kind of now start to look at people and say, look, you're old enough, you're responsible, you're smart. Take it into your own hands. If you're at risk, you stay in. You use your head. And if you're not, and you want to go out and you want to go and do it, it's at your own risk. And kind of, because we can't stay in this situation. But what's your thoughts on that?
I think we're at a point, the tide is starting to turn. it's a political minefield. There's there's so much politics in it. I think there are signs with schools starting to go back beginning of June. I think it's little steps that will build confidence. If you do that too quickly, and things start to regress, then that can do more harm than good. So I think it just has to be on a day by day basis. Every day that goes by, it's costing fortunes. And it was too cold. Okay, it'll warm up, mate. I think you used the words talking about economy and sort of teetering on the edge. I mean, this is a huge impact, and this will take a long time to recover. I mean, there are things that we talk about the good that might come out of it. Obviously, we talk about the NHS and the support and the investment there. Hopefully, that will be something where that sentiment remains. I'm sure it will. We talk about the importance of community. That's something for me that I hope continues. Just really small things like when you go out for these walks and people say hello to you. 8 out of 10 people will say hello. Before that, 9 out of 10. And I think it shows how important community is to us.
I think people avoided you more before the pandemic.
People, sorry?
I think people avoided you more before the pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely. People talking to their neighbours. The clap for carers every Thursday night. You see neighbours having chats and talking to each other, and I hope that's something that continues. I mean, things like sports clubs, I think they play a massive part in massive role in community engagement. So I hope that when these things do relax, people will go down to their local rugby club or go down to their local hockey club or go down to their local athletics club and see what's going on, and that sort of thing starts to come back. But as I said, it feels like we're at that tipping point. The tide is starting to change, but I think it's going to be a very, very slow, gradual process. Nice to see this morning, obviously, an announcement, EasyJet, the company I work for, talking about operating flights from the 15th of June. That certainly feels like a big milestone. That'll obviously be a very slow, gradual process with lots to work out. But these little things day by day do give you a lift. But I think, like you said, it's very up and down. I remember the Monday after Boris's announcement on the Sunday at 7:00, and I think we'd all been waiting for this next stage. And it felt like a nothing announcement with no detail. And I think that Monday, so many people were depressed because they were expecting something. The weather had turned worse. And it is just, day by day. But hopefully these little signs, school's going back. I know my daughter's hopefully going back from the beginning of June for a couple of days a week. Flights, hopefully. Things opening up. McDonald's drive-thrus yesterday. There was a lot of excitement about that. And then you see the pictures of the queues. I saw a picture of a queue in the one in, was it Staines or somewhere? It's horrendous. But these are little things that hopefully show that the tide is starting to turn. But who knows?
Yeah, I think it's a difficult thing with everything going on, like you said, it gives that positivity that things are starting to move. As a parent, how do you feel about the kids going back? Sorry, I don't know if you caught that.
Sorry, I missed that bit. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying, as a parent, how do you feel about, the kids coming back to school and things like that, and mixing with other children? I know some people were a bit panicky about it and saying that they're not going to let their kids go back.
Yeah. I see it as a good thing. The impact of this, it's. There'll be a lot of positives that come with it. I think their mental health, getting back to some structure. Obviously, we have to take some steps forward to monitor this thing. It's you have to be sensitive what you say, because I'm sure so many people will know somebody who's been affected by this.
Sure, yeah.
And I don't want to be dismissive of it, but I think it is a good thing. When you trial something, you start to learn.
Yeah.
Whatever that is, and they got to think about transport, all of these things. So I think it is a good thing. Obviously, yes, my children will have contact with others.
Yeah.
But it's got to come at some point. And hopefully as we get more controls, and move forward in terms of being able to manage the risk, we can start doing more. But I see it as a really, really good thing.
Yeah.
And it's, for me personally, I was thinking about it last night, but my focus has been looking after the kids, trying to keep healthy, do some exercise, lose some weight, that sort of thing. Getting to a point where perhaps if the kids are in school for a couple of days and I'm not working, will that bring extra pressure for me? I'm looking at a big pile of ironing that's been there for a long time. It's sounding stupid, but doing online training, I'm then in a place where I've actually got a bit more time to invest in me, and I think I've just got to be careful in terms of managing my expectations and doing sort of again, day by day, doing it bit by bit, working out what that new routine looks like.
Yeah.
Because in some ways, you see people, and I've been really impressed by some of my colleagues in the online learning they've been doing. You think, right, well, okay, I've got an opportunity to do that. But the reality is that, don't. The kids are in bed at 7:30. I'm whacked.
Yeah.
And I think the first stage I was feeling guilty because I'm like, I should be doing this, but actually that is okay, what I'm doing. So I just need to then work out what that next routine is. If they are in a couple of days, say, okay, well, why not take the 2 mornings to do something like that, and just manage that because we compare ourselves to other people, and I think that's a very dangerous game.
Yeah. Definitely in the time right now, because I think a lot of people probably are looking at each other thinking, well, what are you doing? And if someone's excelling at something, or they're suddenly making really good progress, or say they're, I don't know, making some money really well, and you're thinking, well, hang on a minute, maybe I should do, and then it becomes that comparison, competitiveness against, sometimes that can, the mental health and stuff like that can be triggered and everything like that. I think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Switching gears slightly.
Yes.
You've mentioned it a couple of times, obviously, your work.
Yes.
Josh has mentioned it to me a little bit, but I'd like to try and keep these as fresh as we possibly can, so we try and not learn too much about the people that are coming on if we can't help it.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've mentioned that you work in EasyJet. You mentioned that you've been furloughed. What was a sort of a normal day-to-day sort of job before you were furloughed? But obviously, EasyJet's a massive company, and there's lots of different things.
Yeah. Okay, so normal routine for me. So EasyJet's a huge company operating in many European markets. So I was based in the UK. What the company decided to do last year was relaunch their holidays proposition. So they had an EasyJet holidays brand that sold holidays using flights that the airline operated. And for a few years, that was effectively outsourced through a third party. And it had been identified as an area where there was opportunity for growth. So we had relaunched that proposition in November last year. So a lot of my focus was working up towards that. The implementation of new technology to support that, with all of these functions being brought in-house. I work in a commercial role, so effectively, a typical day, week for me is about giving transparency on performance. So we operate, a weekly trading meeting with the holidays board. So giving them visibility of performance and ensuring we've got a platform to make good strategic decisions on a week-by-week basis. And from that, I led a team of sort of pricing managers and pricing analysts who would make changes to the prices of holidays, who would look at merchandising on our website, who would look at tactics and initiatives to try and support sales. So it was very sales focused, and obviously moving into a period where not many people are booking holidays. Obviously, I've been furloughed for the last couple of months, but hopefully things will come back. Does that give you a bit of an idea?
Yeah, definitely. You touched on it just at the end there. Obviously, people aren't booking holidays anymore. Personally, I think after this, for me, I know there's obviously going to be lots of worry about going to different places. Yeah. I'm going to be the first point I get. I'm going to be trying to book a holiday. But me personally, I know there's going to be a lot of people are going to be worried about booking holidays. But
I mean, there'll be a huge amount of pent up demand. We know the great British public really, really love their holidays. We know they love overseas holidays. We've seen in scenarios in the past that often people will compromise many other high value purchases ahead of their holiday, particularly family. So I think there will be a lot of pent up demand, and that will make it it'd be quite challenging to manage as people do book. Those volumes might accelerate quite quickly. And we're just hoping for that and hope it comes quickly, because I think for a lot of people, they may have had holidays cancelled for 2020, and particularly overseas holidays and school holidays. People are spending large sums of money, and it may well be that people will then sort of be thinking, okay, well, that's 2020. Want something for 2021 to look forward to. Perhaps, instead of that holiday to the Mediterranean, we're going to go for that once in a lifetime trip, or perhaps, using that money thinking, well, instead of a 7-night holiday, let's do the 2-week holiday. Or, there will be a lot of that.
Mm. What do you think the future kind of holds in terms of like timelines? So obviously, like you said, EasyJet have announced that on the 15th of June they're looking at doing potential UK and French flights. Do you think that it's very dependent on really the countries of who's going to let us in and stuff like that, or because if they're obviously stepping quite far forward, I wouldn't personally have assumed that they would have opened probably until July, maybe like when the hospitality was open, because it seems like the phase 2 is just schools going back and summer shops. It doesn't seem like a kind of release of like actually you can move freer, if that kind of makes sense.
I mean, these sorts of things, situations change day by day, and to be a little bit careful in terms of what I say.
Of course,
misrepresent. But I think there's two big things. There's obviously policy around things like quarantine rules that are going to impact things.
Yeah,
it will be how other countries progress in terms of their cases. Obviously, there's in the news this week with regards to hospitality, Spain and Italy, and relaxing of rules that is going on there. So there's those sides of things, and having policies and procedures, which I think there is a little bit of sort of cat and mouse with policy makers. I think last week, Michael O'Leary was on the Breakfast News talking about what Ryanair are doing, and I almost saw that as a gesture of trying to push policy makers along to make some decisions quite quickly, or to speed up some decision makings. You've got that, and then the other side to it is, well, actually, do people want to travel?
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of airlines and holiday companies they've got to tread very, very carefully in terms of huge financial impact and slowly opening up those routes where there is actually demand.
Yeah.
But it's good to start to see. I think in terms of the UK market, I think there is hope still there. Obviously, Josh, our paths crossed in a holidays park world.
Sure, yeah.
And that's an area and a setup where you can see how sort of some of the social distancing rules could be managed sensibly.
Yeah.
So hopefully things will come back for that market in time for the school holidays, and hopefully that provides an alternative. I think it would do. Obviously, we've all been spending time with our families, but it's things like the extended families, the grandparents, the cousins, the uncles and aunts that I hope may present a nice opportunity, particularly if the weather continues as it is. And I think the sector is absolutely huge. I think on a global scale, I think I saw some statistic that 1 in 13 people work in tourism in some shape or form. So it is really important that we start to see these signs.
Do you think that people will start to support like UK holidays a little bit more this year? Probably.
I think this year, yes. I saw it was a headline. It was on Neil Ruddock's Twitter. Bizarrely, I don't read the Daily Star, but it was flicking through my Twitter feed, and he was talking about how he was on the front page or something. But he was talking about staycations and how demand was 6 times more. Now, I don't believe that to be true, but I could see how hopefully there would be a bounce in that sector, and hopefully help that sector to recover. I think things will recover in the overseas market as well. I think leisure first of all, and then I think I think once people then start to get some confidence, then some of the business markets might start to come back as well.
Yeah, but in terms of if you don't know this, just because the assumption that you work for an airline company, you might know. But has there been any kind of? I know there's been a small amount of talk in the newspapers about how air travel might change. So, like they said, the kind of when it came to like the shoe bomb and stuff like that, now they check all your shoes as you go through. When you go to the airport, whether they're going to have temperature gauges or something like that. But actually traveling on the flights, do you think they're going to do every other seat, or they're going to, distance people around the planes? Has that been kind of talked about, or is that when we get to that kind of hurdle, we'll kind of adjust and we'll look at how the plane's going to be laid out?
I mean, there has been lots of talk of measures for a while. I mean, one of the early things was talk of, removing middle seats.
Okay.
Where you've got 3 seats together. In the announcement today, it talks about it being compulsory for people to wear masks. But beyond that,
it's been 2 hours.
Not quite. What these quarantine rules and policies and procedures, I can't see how that will work. Obviously, there's the track and tracing technology that's been brought in, but I was thinking about this morning, thinking I'm going to get asked this question, and I don't really know, but it is odd. I can look outside my house and I see buses travelling by.
Yeah,
you see pictures of that morning after Boris had said, you can go back to work if you can't work from home. And pictures of people getting on the tube at Canning Town. Yeah. And you think, Christ almighty, and how is getting on an aeroplane any different? Is one thought. So why would you need those different steps? I mean, it's not, I don't want to misinform or say something in a... No,
but you're making a good
comparison. An operational role.
Yeah, you're making a good comparison because, like you said, people... The thing is, we're creatures of habit. We move in a way that literally is, we're always going to move that way. So, there's a reminder for us to not do that. But like you said, when that announcement was made, the tubes were back busy. I don't think they ever were really kind of at a point where safe. The buses were back running, and they've made this, situation or kind of suggestion that basically if you are out and you can't social distance, wear a mask and you've got a better protection somewhat of not, transmitting it to anyone that way. So, I think maybe the middle seats could go, or they could potentially just end up with the masks and everyone's masked up on the plane, which I'm sure is not great, but look how much you work your holiday.
Yeah.
Oh, are they talking about putting air purifiers on planes?
Sorry, say that again?
Well, they talking about putting air purifiers on planes at one point.
May well have been, yes. I mean,
I'm a little bit conscious of time, Tom, and I can see you're very in demand. Normally we do just like a top tip for for getting through lockdown. What would everyone's top tip would be? We've done it with everyone. So just to finish up, what would be your top tip for getting through?
Hang on, still there, Drew?
Yeah, I'm still there. Yeah, we're still there.
So sorry, it was a top tip, was it?
Just for a top tip to get through lockdown. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, I think just picking up on that sentiment again about not putting too much pressure on yourself. I think is really, really important. That's been the key thing for me. I think as well is something a friend of mine wrote a blog a couple of days ago, and it was a fantastic blog. He was talking about sort of mental health. He's saying about go that a little bit further. So where you might send a WhatsApp message to a friend, actually give them a call.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's a great tip, because we're all impacted in terms of that social contact that we've got. Just to talk to people and understand that we're all going through the same challenges. It just sort of calms you down a little bit.
Yeah.
So that would be more. What about you guys?
For me, it's just keeping social. I mean, I'm a bit of a social butterfly. So, I mean, when me and Josh spoke about this, it was music to my ears. Really, it was perfect. Because you still, although you're not with people, it's still that human interaction that I certainly crave. So, for me, it was always just try and stay as social as you can.
Yeah. I think I totally agree with Drew, and I think you got to look at your needs and your personality and what you do. So, like for me, I found that I've got a very addictive personality, hence the gym. Going all in and then going into bodybuilding. And I think
podcast,
for me, the podcast
100 mile an hour.
Yeah, and that was it. I had this idea, and I thought I've got to execute it. And before, like Drew said, it was 100 miles an hour. I was creating the logos, I was creating intros.
Yeah.
And, we had like 2 guests, but it was like, and it suddenly made me realize about how much I need project to work on and see progressive overload of continuous work. And because I am furloughed, I need to kind of shuttle my business mind into something. So for me, it was kind of finding a coping mechanism to fill my day and essentially learn. I'm fascinated by people and what they do and their thoughts. So it was a great opportunity for me and Drew to learn about people, meet new people. And, before we know it, I'm sure, we will all be back in work, but we want to make sure that we try and, push this even further and just
I hope you
consistent.
do. Yeah.
But yeah, it's been absolutely amazing. So for me, just understanding who I am and my needs, and then kind of getting what I need really.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, Tom, thank you so much for coming on. And I appreciate your you're at home with the kids and busy man. That's it. So wish you all the best. If you ever want to come on again, or if you want to have a chat, then just let us know.
Let us know, man.
Thanks ever so much.
Tom, been a pleasure, mate. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Drew. Thanks, Josh.
Have a great day, yeah?
Take care.
All the
You
best.
too.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.